Democratic 2024 presidential nominee Vice President Kamala Harris blasted former President Trump and praised young voters in what was likely her final campaign speech in Georgia. Harris spoke to supporters in downtown Atlanta on Saturday, 3 days before voters across the country who haven't already cast ballots head to the polls on Election Day. "We have 3 days left, 3 days in one of the most consequential elections of our lifetime. And we still have work to do," the vice president said. She pivoted to attacking Trump just a few minutes into her roughly 22-minute speech. "We have an opportunity in this election to finally turn the page on a decade of Donald Trump, who spends full time trying to keep us divided and afraid of each other. We're done. We're done with that," Harris said. "This is not someone who is thinking about how to make your life better. This is someone who is increasingly unstable, obsessed with revenge, consumed with grievance, and the man is out for unchecked power." She later asked young leaders to raise their hands and lavished praise on members of Generation Z, a voting bloc that both Republicans and Democrats have fought to win over. "I love Gen Z. I love it," Harris said, "because see, this generation, you are rightly impatient for change. You are rightly impatient for change. You are determined to live free from gun violence and tackle the climate crisis and shape the world you inherit. I see your power, and I am so proud of you." The speech mined familiar territory, with Harris repeating slogans and promises that she has already uttered on the campaign trail, as is typical of presidential candidates this close to Election Day. She vowed to crack down on grocery price gouging, which critics have panned as attempts at price-controlling goods, and pledged to cut taxes for small businesses. Harris also pledged to lower healthcare costs and accused Trump of wanting to repeal the Affordable Care Act, despite his campaign already insisting that is not his policy position. The rally also featured appearances from famed director Spike Lee, rapper 2 Chainz, and both of Georgia's Democratic U.S. senators. Georgia has smashed turnout records already, with more than 4 million people casting early in-person or absentee ballots during the early voting period from October 15th through November 1st. More than 50% of active voters cast ballots early, including over 700,000 people who did not vote at all in 2020. The counties leading in terms of turnout percentage have been largely rural, Republican-leaning areas. Bluer counties like DeKalb and Fulton, however, have significantly larger populations and have outpaced the redder areas in terms of sheer numbers. Both Harris and Trump have poured enormous resources into Georgia, a state that President Biden won by less than 1% during the previous election cycle. Trump's campaign criticized Harris's visit to the Peach State in a statement on Saturday morning. Kamala Harris's last-ditch attempt to gaslight Georgians and distract them with out-of-touch liberal Hollywood elites and flashy celebrities shows how desperate she is to distract Georgians from the last 4 years of her failed policy agenda, said Morgan Ackley, a spokeswoman for Trump's campaign in Georgia. "That's why Georgians are ready to elect President Trump on Tuesday to fix our problems and fire Kamala Harris."